Hello, it is Catherine here, the legal lioness with 10-Minute Law. Today I have been asked about why are the crew under investigation, the crew of that Bayesian luxury yacht that sank. Why are they under investigation? Wasn't it an accident? So from the legal perspective, when people are seriously injured or die, there is usually always a death investigation unless there's an obvious cause for the death. So if somebody fell off a bridge, for example, there still might be an investigation as to whether they jumped or were pushed. But where people are dead, and especially in this case, I think 6 or 7 people have passed away. I think there were 6. Then obviously an investigation needs to take place to find out what happened and how the calamity occurred. And so does this mean that the crew are going to be criminally liable for the deaths? Well, it could be. Now, it does look like it was mainly an accident. Doesn't look like anybody did anything deliberate to cause the yacht to sink. You would expect that the crew wouldn't do that because, well, they were on the yacht too, and if it went down, they were going down too. So it doesn't look like it's deliberate, but you can still go to jail and be held criminally responsible for an accident. Friends of ours years ago, their 18-year-old son was driving around at night, and a young lady just walked in front of his car, just stepped straight out of onto the pavement, or from the pavement on into in front of the car, and he ended up going to jail for 3 years. They alleged that he was speeding. He said he wasn't speeding. She walked in front of the car. There was no traffic light or anything like that. It wasn't a potential crossing or anything like that. And so it was a tragic accident, unless the person didn't want to be on the earth anymore. But the investigation found out that it was most likely a tragic accident. But because he was driving and he was completely sober, he was still responsible for the fatality, and he got 3 years, and then I think he ended up in jail for 1 year, and then 2 years was suspended. So if you're negligent, you can still be held liable for the consequences of your actions. And now there's some talk about whether or not the door where the little tender, the little boat on the big yacht, so it had like this little hidey hole where it went in, and there's some talk that door might not have been properly sealed, and if that was the case, that would have added to the swift flooding of the yacht. So did somebody not close that door properly? Was it supposed to be closed properly? Who was responsible for closing it properly? Did somebody close it and think it was properly sealed when it actually wasn't properly sealed? All of those questions will need to be investigated and asked. And that's right. When something serious happens, people need to learn from it, and we need to find out if there is any culpability, any criminal responsibility. Ultimately, the captain is responsible for the safety of people on board his yacht, the yacht that he's the captain of. And so, was there anything else that he could have done that would have made it safer? Should he have alerted the passengers that bad weather was coming and that they should have been up on deck? And now I've seen some questions about how is it that most of the people that were dead were not crew members. So there was 1 crew member killed and 5 passengers killed. Other than that, the other 9 crew members managed to escape to the life rafts, and then there's I think there were another 6 passengers that were also able to escape. So the question that I've been asked is, how is it that the crew were able to get on the life rafts, and did they just forget about the passengers? And my understanding is that everything happened, or the calamity happened really quickly. So when that water spout happened and the yacht tilted and the water started coming in, that part of it seemed to happen very, very quickly, like within a minute or two. So by that time, it was too late to get people up onto the deck. And so the question's going to be, should they have already been up on the deck in case something bad happened? But how the crew managed to get into the life raft, and I'll link below. There's a Super Yacht News, I think it is. He explains about how the life rafts, they've got this special thing where when they go into the water, it actually causes the life raft to be cut free from the boat, and then the life raft it kind of inflates. It's amazing. I saw some footage of it, and it inflates. So the people that were up on the deck would have been able to jump off the boat and then swim to the life raft, and then the people in the life raft would have been able to help the others get into the boat, into the life raft. So the crew probably were on deck stowing away the gear, lashing things down, and that was probably why they were up on deck. And so it's not necessarily that they got into the life raft and saved themselves. That's not necessarily the case. The case was probably that they were on deck, they were securing things, and then when the boat tilted so badly, the life raft sprang into action. It self-inflated and it cut itself loose from the yacht, and people were flung into the water and were able to make their way to the life raft, and the people who passed away were stuck underneath, below decks, and just in that motion they wouldn't have been able to find their way topside. And my understanding is that it happened very, very quickly. So even if the crew and the captain hadn't done anything deliberate, if there was something they should have done that they didn't, like get everybody up onto the deck, that could have saved lives, or if they did do something they shouldn't have done, whatever, if they didn't follow the proper procedures, then they could be in for jail terms. And the designer of the yacht has unhelpfully come out and said, oh, it's user error, operator error, our yachts are unsinkable. Well, clearly they're not unsinkable, dude. Your yacht is at the bottom of the ocean. Okay, so self-serving statement like that when everybody's grieving, the bodies hadn't even been taken out of the yacht yet, I think that is very very callous. And so the yacht builder might also be liable in some respects for maybe a civil suit. I don't know. And that is the story of why there is a police investigation and why some of the crew may well end up in jail after that Bayesian yacht disaster.